And welcome back to the Add 10 Gallons Concrete Podcast Live, World of Concrete 2025. We are here with the greatest IT man in the concrete world, the great and powerful Billy Ripple. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the compliments. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Pleasure to meet up again. Look forward to it. Going to be a good conversation.
Pleasure's always ours. So for those that aren't aware, Billy is with Command Alkon. And if you are a World of Concrete and you go into that, you cannot miss their gigantic booth. It's absolutely beautiful. Shining beacon on a hill in North Hall.
Man, unbelievable. Our marketing team crushes it every year.
No, it really
I don't know how they do it.
It really is.
It's
awesome.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's crazy.
Which, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, is that an awesome booth? Like, what a strange thing to even be excited about.
No, seriously, it's I'm with you. It's to the point now where if you were to walk in and you've got like that, if something were to change for whatever reason and you see like a smaller booth and it's like, I know what we used to have. Why do we have this now? It's like
Command your budget away.
Yeah. It's like, well, we got to, like 08 or 09 happens again. It's like, no, I don't want to go back. No.
Don't put that negative in.
No, that's not, we're not even close. It's nothing but good.
Actually, now that you say that, the word that Joey and I were using to describe the show, like the feeling here is optimism.
I think that's completely fair. Yeah, I completely agree. Whenever I was walking up before we sat down, I was catching up real quick and, comparing it to last year's World of Concrete, and then we obviously have Con Expo that happens every 3 years. And, that's the big one. A lot of folks kind of hang out on World of Concrete that year and just make it a ConAg trip. Based on yesterday, I was like, all right, we're pretty busy. I've seen it busier, but it'll ramp up. And then today, I thought today would be a little busier, and it absolutely was and beyond. It's been nonstop since 9:30. We've had nonstop traffic. We've had nonstop demos. As soon as I wrap up a demo or answer questions, I'm getting pulled another way amongst the rest of the team in the booth. It's incredible.
Well, actually, we tried to have you in here on this podcast 20 minutes ago. You showed up and then had to leave right away.
This is true.
I was summoned.
I did. I got summoned. I got called, and that could be a reality that happens again. So if we do, we'll wing it.
We'll pause it.
Yeah.
Be all right. No, I disagree. You're here now. They can
get the camera out.
So
get the camera out and just follow me.
Yeah,
and we'll just make it an episode, and we'll show you how the sausage is made, baby.
Turns into a vlog.
Yes, that'd be great. Yeah.
So where are you living now? We know Command is based out of Birmingham.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So the entire Command Alkon team, we're fully remote. So a lot of us either live at the airport or our residents. At least for me, I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I'm probably about 45 minutes straight west of the DFW airport.
Okay. We just had on some students from Texas State.
Nice.
Concrete industry.
Yeah. No, I think his name is Ryan.
Dr. Ryan.
Absolute. He announced his PhD, and he was so humble when he did. He was like, he did this red scratch on his card, and he's like, I try not to talk about it. And I'm like, this is your time to talk about yourself. That's not easy.
No, it's not easy at all. I was
just got a great program.
Just saw him at the CIM auction that was today, and told him congratulations. First time I've seen him since he became Dr. Ryan. And definitely said, congratulations or whatever.
No, I
asked him what his thesis was about. Did you hear what the thesis was?
No, what was that?
To sum it up, is there are too many engineers teaching concrete and construction courses. We need regular folk.
That's fair.
Wow.
That's fair.
Where can I get a hold of a copy of that? Because I would like to read it.
I think Rick Sacchi may take some offense. Dr. Rick Sacchi may take some offense to that too, because he's an engineer as well. But that's a pretty funny comment. We get it on the software side too. It's like, it looks like an engineer built that. It's like, well, he did. It's like, you need to have some regular folks just using the product and make that the reality. So that's pretty funny. There's parallels there.
Well, it's interesting. So the episode when you came on a few years back is one of the most popular episodes we ever had.
No freaking way.
Swear.
Wow, cool.
And back then we were talking about you kind of tried to, and I'm not saying try like negative, like you guys were becoming the everything platform.
Yeah,
it was
that's
very
a fair statement. Yep.
Very early in your.
No, absolutely. We're totally in its infancy.
We're going to connect everything. So I want to know, it's just kind of a follow-up on that. Like, how's that going?
Man, it's been great. So, part of that plan initially was, what really kicked it off, obviously, was COVID. Folks wanted to share information about their loads, ticket information electronically to eliminate the handshake, or passing germs, et cetera. And that really kind of led to segue into what was at that time kind of the first generation, the Connects platform. And the name would be connecting all of our partners together to share information. So that kind of laid the foundation and the plumbing and inevitably what kind of gave us our start to get all of our products, starting with dispatch, and not just ready mix dispatch, but aggregates, asphalt, bulk materials in the cloud. So you've got the single data, this unified platform that looks the same from entering master data to creating orders, adding new customers, et cetera, for all verticals of business on any device you have access to, as long as you have access to the internet. So at that time, when we did, I think that year in particular, when I did that podcast, we did the ribbon cutting ceremony for that first generation of the product. So where we're at now, we're on the second generation of that product, is now referred to as Command Cloud. And we've got over 100 customers live on this solution today. We've ticketed over 1 million or 1.2 million loads of concrete on this solution. And we've done this in only about a year and a half time frame, from the first gen of the product to where we are today. So back to kind of the economy and not bringing that 08, 09 juju, the customers are hungry for a cloud-based product that's easy to use, intuitive, integrates with the rest of their solutions, and that's exactly what we built. So we've been very blessed. That's what's led to the wonderful booth traffic that we've had, a lot of the questions that we've had, and what keeps me on the road whenever I'm not doing conferences.
So you're on the road. I mean, you speak with the confidence of a salesman, but really an IT guy that really knows what's going on with his products. Yeah. What is it you're doing out there on the road?
No, that's a great question. So I'm a part of the solution specialist team at Command Alkon. I'm the team lead for our department. Solution specialists at other software companies are sales engineers, and they're the technical sales folks. We work very closely, not only with customers, not only with our sales counterparts, but also with the product and development team. So, when we get into demos and we show off what the product can and can't do, we address the pain points that the customers have and say, okay, here's how I can solve the issues that you're having today. And that's really what our job is. We want to show the value to the customer of what our solutions can do. And a lot of times that takes place on the road. We're going to customers' offices, we're showing them off the product. And thankfully, we have a lot of customers that are on our legacy products, so it makes it a lot easier to migrate and manage and upgrade them to the cloud versions of these solutions. But that's what the solution specialist team does. So we are definitely sales oriented for sure, but we're a consultative sales. It's not a hit your quota sales. Going back to our original comment, this industry is small. Everyone knows everybody. Your reputation precedes you. So if I'm just selling to make money or hit a specific quota to make other folks happy, and the product doesn't do what I say it's going to do or others say it's going to do, it's going to impact not only myself, but the company, the product's reputation overall. And that's the opposite of what we want.
Yeah. And you were referencing before we hit record, we were talking a little bit about the industry, and there's a great phrase from Jim Casilio, the Pennsylvania Aggregates and Concrete Association. And Jim said that this industry is a bunch of inbred elephants, meaning that everybody knows everybody and nobody forgets a dang thing. So screw somebody over and you sell just to make money. You're a fly-by-night company, or even if you're an established company and you're saying things that are half-truths or whole lies, you're not going to laugh.
No, you're not. And you're not. Yeah. You're not. And for me, from a work ethic standpoint, and not just for me, I mean, everyone else I work with, I mean, it's, you want to be able to just walk in at any company if that had to happen and know that this guy and gal is an honest, hardworking, I can trust them, because 5 years ago when he was showing me this product, he said it would do X, Y, and Z. It did exactly that. And I was able to run my business successfully. Whether it's you're selling admixture, you're selling a plant, you're selling new stacker belts, whatever the case may be, it doesn't just have to be software. So it's a very handshake industry still.
In a way.
You know what I mean? I mean, your bond is your word.
Well,
you got to deliver.
How many actual contracts do we have with customers? I don't think any of them are actually.
I count them all.
I think they're all handshake.
That's incredible.
I mean,
I love that.
It's like, just send in a PO and we send you the stuff and everything.
Yeah. That's incredible. I think there's some merit to that. And I don't know of too many other industries where that's even possible, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We have, with like some of the guys when we do like the Amazon projects, we'll have like one pagers.
Mhm.
They're like, hey, when this thing's done, like move our equipment.
Yeah.
And if you don't, we're going to charge you like $5,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
costs money to move the equipment around.
No, absolutely.
Other than that, I think
Yeah, we keep it very turnkey and simple because I think there was like one time management tried to, enforce some contracts or push some contracts or something like that. And the customer just said, no, we just won't use
we
you.
just,
Yeah.
it was hilarious.
Everyone has a competitor somewhere,
Mhm.
and at the end of the day, it's just business. But yeah, you got to deliver for the customer sometimes. If that's what they don't want, then that's what you don't do.
Can I tell you something? You're going to be proud of us.
Let's hear it.
Joey is now an IT specialist. He knows how to do all the podcast audio. He can edit
Why?
and do all the stuff.
Why am I even here then? This is
Through YouTube, all is possible.
That's a fact of life. Hey, I want to, this is a good segue too. So back in November, I went to the Carolinas Ready Mix Association and I was on a panel with Geotech, Cystine, and AI Crete, and we were doing an AI panel for
You're up there with Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was on here earlier this morning on this podcast.
Me and Sarah actually catch up all the time. When we talk, we're like, we need to, because Geotech does a podcast too. And then, we talk about anytime you guys drop a new episode, we listen to it as well. So now we have a lot of mutual customers, and obviously we're all at these events too. But yeah, we were next to each other and stuff and answering questions and everything. And the evolution of doing everything YouTube is AI.
Yeah.
It's more than a buzzword, man. It's you have a subject matter expert in your hand for any topic you ever wish you knew anything about. It's incredible.
So I have got to quit saying this, but I just finished business school, and two of our classes that I had were AI. You could actually, our program at Villanova University is one of only two. The other one is Northwestern, where you can actually concentrate specialization in AI for your MBA. And so I actually concentrated in analytics, but I would have done AI if I'd known at the begining. There wasn't a concentration at first. They just had like a couple of courses.
Well,
I'd have been a little later, I probably would have concentrated. But the reason I brought that up was because I didn't realize how advanced like AI was, how the models were. They were not taking it easy on us.
No,
they were hardcore at us with this AI stuff. It's really, really unbelievable what I come to find out, because once I got into these classes, like, all right, let me try out the AIs. So mostly what we all deal with are the large language models. And I was like, all right, well, I'll start there since that's the easiest point of entry. The problem that I have with the large language models is they are about 95% right. And for the vast majority of us, that's totally acceptable.
Sure.
No problem. Where I get a little bit of heartburn is like if you're trying to be a subject matter expert at something, that last 5% is way off. Way off. I get a little bit nervous about that. And why I get nervous about it is because the only reason I know that is because the three of us sitting up here are subject matter expert at something, and I happen to ask it to the thing that I knew the answer to. And I wasn't even trying to trick it. I was trying to write blog articles faster. And I was like, I gave it the most detailed prompt you'd ever imagine. And because I wanted it to be an exact certain tone about an exact specific subject to hit these exact certain points. And it fed me stuff that wasn't exactly right. And so even then in business school, when I'm taking classes, and I'm not the expert in the subject, but I just read a whole lot about this topic. And I was asking it some questions to clarify some things I didn't quite understand. And then I'd be like, well, hold on a second. I don't think that's right, because I just read in the book. I just had a lecture, and I don't think that's right. And I say, what's your source?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're right. I got that wrong. Here, let me fix that. And I'm like,
which is scary.
And if you don't know to ask the clarification questions, that's going
to the answer that is wrong is all you'll ever know.
But the thing is, the large language models are just predictive based.
They are. Yeah. That's exactly.
They don't actually know anything. No. Just what is the most likely next character or next token?
Exactly. What's it going to match against? The most likely, correct.
The most likely thing. And so I try to tell everybody, like, have fun with them, brainstorm with them. Do not get your answers from.
Right. I think that ultimately was our message for that entire panel is like, I think one of the questions that how you think it's going to replace specific inefficiencies or whatever the scenario may be. And in my head, it's like, firstly, I don't think it's going to immediately replace a human being to do a specific task. Maybe like data entry folks or something like that. But it's only meant, at least right now in its current iteration, due to that 5% of being wildly incorrect, it's just meant to be an amplification of one skill set. So if I can build out a spreadsheet faster or perform a demo better, or even have it write lines of code because I don't know how to code. I'm like the fakest IT guy out there, like I can't code, but that can for me, and it does
so good at it.
It's phenomenal. So if there's, it's only meant to accelerate one's ability to reach a specific outcome and not rely on researching articles or reading a book or.
Well, we're talking specifically right here about LLMs, but
yeah,
like when you go, like if you've never tried Copilot for like an Excel sheet or something, to analyze it, they are fun. Using Power BI and
I love
some
it.
Shortcuts with that.
Love it.
With the AI is a lot of fun too, especially if you know what you're looking for.
Exactly.
And if you're like, oh, just tell me what this spreadsheet says, it gives you some crazy stuff. But if you know exactly, I want sales by quarter for this product over the last 5 years, and I want to see it broken out by budget versus actual. But in a second, all I gotta do is type it in.
One of the things that, AI is very much buzzwordy too. It's like people are just throwing that on, it's slapping it on everything. A Flex Seal on the container of water, and it's just like shooting out of the deal and just slap.
Is that the best commercial of all time?
It really is.
How many
is
when he sprayed the Flex Seal on the canoe that was a screen door on the bottom? Is that the greatest product demo of all time?
When I try to show value in products, I want the Flex Seal moment. Like their water's pouring out of that giant jug he's in, and I slap some Command Cloud on that baby, and boom, everything's good. Like that's the kind of immediate value you need to show in like 2 seconds.
So in business school, the whole AI thing was never about replacing. They all would tell you it's not going to replace you.
Yeah.
It's going to augment you, and you're going to be a more productive person. That was the message in business school. What I also learned, because we had a guy who was literally building AI as like our professor. And so he showed us like the behind the scenes, like all the code and how deep everything goes, and looking at file formats I never even heard of, and all this crazy stuff. And he's showing everybody, he's like, at the end of the day, the LLMs are just toys. And he was like, when you build these algorithms for like super precise purposes, like it's going to changes everything. So like you're talking about data entry, and healthcare is one of the big ones right now. All the different doctors and insurances, they all got their own forms, their own formats, and can't read half of them.
Nothing standardized.
All
so different.
You have an office full of people at every hospital, and their only job is to go through and sort all that stuff and data entry into something that is standardized for the hospital. Well, now the AI can do that, 10,000 of them in an instant.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need a person anymore.
I think that first ChatGPT model there, and I stand corrected maybe, but there was some statistic where I think on the 3.5 version of ChatGPT, what they trained it on was like the entirety of Wikipedia, and that it was capable of consuming and reading like tens of thousands of books compared to us only achieving X amount in our entire lifetime. It can do that by like a second. And just the data ingestion and yeah, I mean,
if you're from Tennessee, you might get 10 books in a life.
You ain't lying.
Texas ain't 5 of them going to be about Peyton Manning.
Yeah, exactly.
You're from Texas originally?
Yeah, born and raised. Yeah,
the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah, I was raised in a small little country town west of Fort Worth, Texas, called Pullville, Texas. Graduated with 43 people. We didn't have football. We didn't have a red light. We had a stop sign, and it didn't even blink. We had a seed company and a single convenience store, and then the schools, and that was it.
Yeah,
super small.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Another cattle ranchers out there, tons of land. The primary source for a lot of folks is farming hay and raising cattle.
Yeah.
Taking them to slaughter. So
about where like Joey grew up pretty much.
Yeah. We had more people. We only had the only high school in the county, so we had like 200 something people that graduated with us. But like you, there wasn't a red light for a long time. Yeah. And I'll tell you the reason they didn't have a red light. They tried to have a red light one time. The problem with having the red light, they had it at the in the town square, coming onto the square. Well, the National Guard armory was several hundred yards the way a crow flies up on top of this hill within sight of this red light. And what would happen is at night, the National Guardsmen, every now and then, they'd get a wild hair and they would shoot that red light out from 700-800 yards away. So they couldn't keep a red light. So eventually they gave up. And then eventually the town and the county got developed enough that they had to have some red lights.
Just now we know where our tax dollars go.
Tax dollars at work. They just got to let off some steam,
I get it. We all have our versions of that, and I can respect that. That's okay. That is pretty funny, though. I mean, I wouldn't replace it if it's guaranteed to get shot out.
You can only shoot out a red light so many times before it's like, okay, we'll just stop. Like this isn't wanted.
Yeah.
That's funny. My hometown's so overdeveloped now.
And I don't know this. I'm sure your listeners do. What about you?
Born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama area.
Okay, yeah.
I was in a town called Trussville.
Oh, yeah. So our headquarters was Birmingham, and we actually have a couple of folks who live in Trussville. A lot of our marketing team.
It's a great area.
Yeah.
It really is. But when I was there, it was much more like lower income and
Gotcha.
like lower middle class folks had a main street, had a driving range, golf course, like on the main area, like just off of Main Street. And so there wasn't really much there.
Incredible.
And then all of a sudden, like all this money started coming in. People with money started moving there and started building all these developments. And they got mansions everywhere. You got more shopping you could ever imagine. Every store on earth. So it became like a shopping destination to go to Trussville.
What was the influx of income? Was it, did a specific company move in, or just the colleges, or?
I don't know the history on why that is, but it happened while I was there, and so I don't know if people were just trying to get out of Mountain Brook. So if you looked at a map of Birmingham, there's a couple suburbs that are like super wealthy enclaves, like the Mountain Brook area would be one of them. There was some money in an enclave called Vestavia Hills, and those people just started to spread out. I think
Gotcha.
Just started spreading out and said, where can I get bang for buck? And then it just became a place because they started developing so much stuff in our town. They got rid of the driving range. They put like pretty awesome shopping centers in and entertainment stuff in, and just really built up the town. It's kind of a if you build it, they will come kind of thing. People came in and they're like, well, there's all this undeveloped land out here, and they just built massive houses. So the house that we had the house I grew up in sold for $99,000 to my mother on a 6% interest rate in the year 2000. And by the time I graduated in spring of 2006 from high school, all the land that was behind us was our back fence, and beyond that was just land. And it was hilly and rocky, and it was nuts.
Undeveloped
nature. And in fact, somebody in our neighborhood, they had taken it one time. They took a dozer back there and they dozed out trails, and kids would ride their dirt bikes around on these trails.
Nice.
Anyway, the guy who owned that land actually lived on the other side of the ravine, so you could see the mountain across, and it came down and it came back up to us. You could see his gigantic house over there. He owned all that land. He eventually sold it. Patriarch died. Kids sold all the land. So developers bought it up. And so right behind our house was probably like another 30 houses that, again, remember, ours sold for $99,000. 5 years later, every house behind us was selling for $500,000 or $600,000.
Wow.
So I tell you, they upgraded the neighborhood. And
the value went through.
Allegedly, I wasn't let in on any of that, those decisions. I didn't find out this till later about how much houses cost. But so that's the type of stuff that came into Trussville. And that was just my one neighborhood. We had dozens of neighborhoods, and they all did the exact same thing. So who led that charge? I'm not sure, but these boroughs that were the wealthier enclaves were full. They weren't building any more houses in these enclaves. So if somebody wanted to branch out, Trussville was just like the next town.
Yeah. Since we used to be headquarters, our international headquarters was there and everything, and that's where you went to do training for specific stuff.
It's not there anymore.
Meeting stuff. No. So we, really once COVID, that kind of accelerated a lot of our physical offices. We used to have offices, I think, in Kansas City, Birmingham. We still have an office in Ohio. And maybe one in Salt Lake. I'm not 100% sure on that. But once COVID happened, we just got rid of them, and then I think we subleased technically the Birmingham one. For me, that was kind of my perspective. I'm like, because I've driven through Mobile to get to Florida, and I'm like, Alabama wasn't like a state I would look forward to going to just because of my experience in Mobile. So when I'm like back in 21, they say, hey, come into Birmingham. We're going to do some team training and all this stuff. So, cool. Fly in, and I loved it. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. The rolling hills, the Vulcan statue, the little downtown area was kind of under construction. Went to a little distillery. Everything you wished it could be. The homes are beautiful. It's a classic case of like folks stereotype in Texas, and then they get to Texas, it's like, this is nothing like everyone says it is.
Mhm.
It's the same for Alabama too. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, the problem was your experiences were in Mobile. I, too, don't like the smell of Mobile.
Thank God. I'm glad I'm not the only one on record that has a dissatisfaction with.
No,
with
you knew once you got south of Montgomery, you knew when you were getting close to Mobile because it smelled. Like you could
It's just
smell it
brutal.
in the air.
It was just brutal.
Terrible place. Gross place.
Port there, yeah, busy.
For some reason, an old Alabama quarterback, A.J. McCarron, has the skyline of Mobile tattooed across his chest. So if you ever wondered if that man makes smart decisions, yes,
I think he lost a bet. That's the only justification. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
Billy, we really appreciate you coming on the show today, man.
Boys,
Top.
appreciate it. No, thank y'all very much for inviting me. Absolute pleasure.
And with that, that's going to be another episode from the World of Concrete 2025. Stay tuned to the At 10 Gallons Concrete podcast. Go find us on LinkedIn and the socials. We will be dropping all these episodes right after the show. Thanks, man.
Thanks, everybody. Y'all are naturals.